Ger40 price prediction and technical analysis. And as you guys can see, we are on the monthly chart. And on this chart, and just to recap, we last spoke about how price or the market had given us this inverted head and shoulders pattern, which has a neckline at that point. And we want to see ideally price coming back to the neckline to give it a test. And I'd last said that at this point over here is where a lot of financial institutions and insurers will be looking to push the market further up. So should price from where it is come back to that neckline or that very strong level of support at this point in time, at that point is where I believe we should be looking for potential buy opportunities. I'm just gonna add my neckline for that inverted head and shoulders pattern, and as I said, it is the previous all-time high. And again, I also want to utilize the Fibonacci retracement tool to see if that neckline, which is now also a very strong level of support, aligns with any key numbers that we have on the Fib tool. And we can see that the neckline, which is over here of this inverted head and shoulders pattern, aligns, we could say, with the 50% Fibonacci retracement level. So should price from where it is come back to that level, at that level is where we should potentially look for buy opportunities, in my very humble opinion, because we have confluence. Number one, remember, we have as I said, that inverted head and shoulders pattern. Number two, we have this level over here, which is the neckline of that pattern, being also a very strong level of support. And number three, the very same level aligns with the 50% Fibonacci retracement level. Anyway, let's head down to the weekly chart. And here we are on the weekly chart, and on the weekly chart we can see that we've had some very strong price action to the upside. And in the last video we made, we were actually waiting for price to come back to this level to retest it, and that is because, guys, remember we had a triple top over here. And what happens quite often with triple tops is that a lot of traders and investors sell on the second leg because they would be seeing a double top, and again they sell on the third leg, placing their stop losses just above, right? So it actually explains why we saw this move to the upside, in my very humble opinion. Number one, it was a move to actually stop hunt the stop losses that were located here, right? And number two, I believe that this move over here was to induce more people to keep on buying, right? Because I believe that we're likely going to see a crash very, very soon, and that is because all of the indices, have been very, very strong over the last couple of weeks and even months. So we need to see some proper corrections, in my very humble opinion, right? Anyway, here we are on the weekly chart. Let's just zoom in. Another thing that motivates for why we may potentially see the market actually crash is that we have this candlestick over here. And as you can see, it is a bearish candlestick which has quite a small body and a very long lower wick. And as I say, at the bottom where that wick ends, we have actually a lot of liquidity there, and that liquidity is money, and that money needs to be triggered by the market sooner or later, right? So there is plenty of scope for the market to come back to this level, right, over and above the fact that I said that it is a very strong level of support at this point in time. Anyway, from here, let's head down to the daily chart. However, before I do so, I also want to point out that as much as we have this very strong level of support, we have also another very strong level of support over here, and that is because we have another W formation there. I hope you guys can see that. And as I always say, whenever we have these, we want to see price break into the upside of that neckline, and then in the future come back to the neckline to give it a test, and at that point is where we may potentially look for buy opportunities. So for now, I'm just going to add my neckline for that structure. Just bear with me. Let's have a look. I just hope that my lines are not too confusing, but just bear with me, everybody. So there goes a neckline of our W structure, or W formation, which is over here, or double bottom rather. And anyway, let's go down to the daily chart, and here we are on the daily chart. Let's just add our channel, and as I said, we are in a very, very strong upward trend, and for the most part, based on that alone, we should be, in my very humble opinion, looking for only buy opportunities because we are in an uptrend. But here we are on the daily chart, and just to recap, guys, remember on the weekly chart we said that we have this smaller W structure, and it too has a neckline at that point, right? So that neckline is also now a very strong level of support, but don't confuse this level with this area over here, which is the neckline of that inverted head and shoulders pattern that we spoke about on the monthly chart, right? Anyway, let's continue. What else do we see on the daily chart? Let's just zoom in and have a look. On the daily chart, guys, as much as we had this W structure over here, right, just note that we also have another W over here, or double bottom, and it too has a very strong level of support at that point, which is also the neckline of that structure. So I'm just going to add that. Just bear with me. Let's see. So there goes our neckline, more or less. And again, I'm going to utilize the Fibonacci tracement tool just to see if we have any key numbers that align with that neckline, which is now also a very strong level of support. And now we can see that we don't really have any numbers that align with that neckline. And what else do we see, guys? And as much as we have this pattern over here, I hope you guys can see that we also seem to have what seems to be an overextended double top here, which similarly has a neckline there, right? So we have two structures, right? This double structure in addition to that double top, and we can see where the necklines are. And we may see a situation where price moves to this level to bounce off of that neckline, only to head back up to that level again. And at this level again, we may potentially see the market actually move further down, or even up for that matter. But for now, I'm just going to add a neckline for that double top as well. And as I said, it is an overextended double top, and I know that at this point it doesn't look like a double top, but if we go down to the H4 chart, you would see that it is indeed an overextended double top. And by the way, it is an overextended double top because that first leg is much higher than the second leg, and as I said, it has a neckline there. And again, guys, whenever we have these patterns, we want to see ideally price breaking to the bottom side and then coming back up to the neckline to give it a test. And at that point is where we would look for potential sell opportunities, especially if the neckline aligns with any key numbers on the Fibonacci tracement tool, right? And we're yet to see price come back to that level to give it a test. And as I said, if it does so, at this point is where I will be looking for potential sell opportunities, right? I'm just gonna add my channel at this point. And we can see also that in regards to the H4 chart, we are in a strong downward trend. Let's have a look. There we go. Right. And again, I'm going to utilize Fibonacci just to see if that neckline of that double top aligns with any key numbers that we may have on the Fib tool, right? And there we go. We can see more or less that this neckline of this overextended double top more or less aligns, we could say, with the let's say the 50% Fibonacci retracement level, right? So we have confluence, right? That adds as confluence in that should price come back to this level, at this level is where we may potentially look for sell opportunities, right? And let's count all of the reasons why. Number one, remember we said we have this overextended double top, right? And price has broken to the bottom side of that neckline, right? And then we have the neckline also being a very strong level of resistance at this point in time. To add to that, the neckline aligns with the 50% Fibonacci retracement level. And the last point is that we also have this channel which acts as dynamic resistance at this point in time, right? So should price, as I said, from where it is move to this level, at that level is where I believe that I will be looking for potential sell opportunities. And what I would then do is, at this point, I would look for a channel on the lower time frames, and I would wait for channel, or rather for price to break the channel, as well as look for reversal candlestick patterns, right? Such as like railroad tracks, right? Or I want to see like a pin bar of sorts, right? Or I want to see a formation that looks more or less like this. I hope you guys can see that, right? And as I said, once price closes to the bottom side of my channel, then I would look for sell opportunities. And if indeed I do sell at this level, my take profit should be around here. And why do I say this level? That is because that level is the neckline, remember, of this W structure that we spoke about on the daily chart. I hope you guys can see that, right? But just to go back to the daily chart, excuse me, ideally myself personally, right, I would love to see price actually come back to this area, move further up to this point, which is the previous or rather the current all-time high, and at that point is where I want to see the market actually move further down to around this level, which is where we have the neckline of this W structure. And just to zoom out again, remember on the bigger time frames we spoke about, if I can just go back to the weekly chart and the monthly chart, on the monthly chart we spoke about how the market had given us this pattern, right, which is an inverted head and shoulders pattern. And I want to see price, as I said, do this and then come back to this level, and at that level is where I would look for further buy opportunities, right? And that is it as far as my analysis goes. I hope it makes sense. And just to repeat myself, ideally at this point in time, I want to see price come back to that level, and at this level is where I would look for potential sell opportunities due to all of those reasons that I've given you. But just to zoom out again, ideally on the daily chart, price seems to have given us the first leg of a possible double top. I want to see it head up again to give us the second leg of that double top, and if it does so, at this point is where I would look for sell opportunities.